Every person alive right now shares something in common. One impossible memory gap that connects you to every human who has ever walked this planet. Try it right now. Try to remember the day you were born. You can't, can you? But here's what most people don't realize. It's not just your first birthday that vanishes. It's everything before age 3.5. 3 full years of experiences, emotions, learning, bonding, discovering your world for the very first time. Gone. Erased like they never existed. 0% recall. And this is where it gets fascinating, because for decades, scientists dismissed infant memory loss as a simple glitch or weakness in brain development. But recent research has completely flipped that narrative on its head. It's not a flaw in how your brain works. In fact, it might be the single reason you became capable of the kinds of thinking, problem-solving, and self-awareness that make you distinctly human. The concept itself is called infantile amnesia, and it was first documented extensively by Charles Darwin himself in 1873. The hippocampus, the brain structure responsible for forming and retaining personal memories, is still under construction in infants. Babies don't have a memory deficit, they have working memory systems that function quite well for temporary information processing. They learn patterns in speech within days of being born. The problem is far more intricate and honestly a lot more interesting. If you were to shrink down and step inside a toddler's developing brain, you wouldn't find an empty storage room. At its peak, around the age of 2 to 3, your brain produces roughly 40,000 new synaptic connections per minute. Imagine trying to write down every single idea that ever pops into your head in less than 100 seconds. Impossible, right? Survival requires precision, not clutter. If every stray sensory input from those early years got permanently locked in, your adult brain would be a tangled mess. Synaptic pruning kicks in around 18 months old. Think of it like a gardener cutting away overgrown vines. Every time your toddler brain learns a new pattern, it actively erases older data to make physical space for the new skill. Researchers have tracked toddler brain scans showing massive gray matter expansion, followed by massive reduction. A 3-year-old can remember how to ride a tricycle, but can't remember their own birthday party from last month. How can one part of your memory system work flawlessly while another refuses to hold on to anything? The first system is called procedural memory. Think of it as your brain's autopilot for movement and habits. Babies encode procedural memories because they rely on the cerebellum and motor cortex, which mature earlier than the hippocampus. An adult can play an instrument learned at age 4, but have no conscious memory of learning it. The second system is episodic and autobiographical memory, the part you miss when you wonder who you were before you became you. 2 critical pieces are missing: the hippocampal filing cabinet is under construction, and the label me hasn't been written. The mirror test. Toddlers take 15 to 24 months to recognize their own reflection. That's when autobiographical memory becomes possible. Recognizing yourself for the first time doesn't magically unlock memories from before that day. Language is the ultimate memory gatekeeper. Without words, infant memories are just disjointed fragments. The file was saved in an unrecognizable code that your adult brain has forgotten how to open. The answer lies in a brilliant experiment by researchers Ann Barrett and Robert Bjork in 1998. They gave babies a 30-second delay, then a 90-day delay to test memory retention. Toddlers still remembered the sequence perfectly after 3 full months. An eye-tracking study from Duke University and Harvard Medical School in 2012 showed similar results. A 2019 study showed that new memories in unfamiliar locations vanished within only 4 to 7 weeks. The answer might lie in emotional intensity. High arousal events persist as hyper-detailed snapshots. Ordinary daily experiences fade because they're identical from one day to the next. Every time you recall an early experience, you actively rewrite it in your head. It's like reading a document copied on Xerox machines for decades. Each copy loses quality. Cambridge and Harvard found that emotional memories bypass the hippocampus and encode directly into the amygdala. You can subconsciously carry deep sensory imprints from infancy for your entire life. If a caregiver was consistently anxious or soothing during infancy, it gets carved into your emotional baselines. Infant amnesia isn't an all-or-nothing event. It's a sieve. For years, psychologists viewed infant amnesia as a bug, a glitch. Forgetting your early life is the entire reason you became capable of adult-level thought. Imagine if your brain were like a smartphone with only 4 gigabytes of storage. The phone would freeze within seconds. You could never download a new app. Neural pruning isn't erasing your past, it's making room for your future. By forgetting what your hands looked like at age 1, your brain made space to learn calculus later. Every memory you lost between ages 0 and 3 was a deliberate trade. You exchanged the ability to remember holding someone's hand so your brain could understand the value of holding it. You traded 1,000 breakfast meals so your mind could hold on to empathy, love, and abstract concepts. Infant amnesia is one of the most miraculous acts of self-sacrifice your biology ever performed. You literally forgot yourself into becoming who you are today. Every blank page in those first 3 years was a clean canvas painted over into a masterpiece. You have to forget who you were to become someone new. So the next time you struggle to recall your earliest memories, don't feel loss, feel gratitude. Your brain made a choice for you before you could even speak. It chose to make you smarter at the cost of your earliest memories. Every one of us shares this exact same bargain. We all lost our baby selves to become our adult selves. That blank space at the beginning of your life story is the foundation everything else was built on. Thank your hippocampus for its sacrifice. Thank yourself for becoming who you were meant to be. Your brain is still pruning every single day. The same mechanism that erased your baby memories is still active today, optimizing your brain. You're not the same person you were last year. You're a constantly updated version of yourself. The very act of remembering changes the memory. You can never visit the same memory twice. This phenomenon is called reconsolidation. Every time you retrieve a memory, you edit and resave it. So nature hits the delete button. Synaptic pruning kicks in around 18 months old. Every time your toddler brain learns a new pattern, it actively erases older data to make space. If your early childhood was dismantling itself, how do we know any of this actually happened? Researchers tracked massive gray matter expansion followed by equally massive reduction. A 3-year-old can remember how to ride a tricycle, but not their own birthday party last month. How can one memory system work flawlessly while another refuses to hold on to anything? Procedural memory is your brain's autopilot for movement and habits, riding a bike, tying your shoes. Babies encode procedural memories because the cerebellum and motor cortex mature earlier than the hippocampus. Episodic memory, the part you miss when you wonder who you were before you became me. If you don't know who you are, how can your brain file an experience under my experience? 2 critical pieces missing: the hippocampal filing cabinet is under construction, and the label me hasn't been written. Toddlers take 15 to 24 months to recognize their own reflection. That's when autobiographical memory becomes possible. Recognizing yourself doesn't unlock memories from before that day, like unsaved documents wiped by a security update. Without words to anchor an experience, infant memories are encoded as disjointed fragments. The file was saved in an unrecognizable code your adult brain has forgotten how to open. A baby's brain doesn't build connections randomly. It builds too many of them. If every stray sensory input got permanently locked in, your brain would be a tangled mess of baby data. Synaptic pruning is like a gardener cutting away overgrown vines so the main trees have room to grow. Each new skill learned forces the deletion of older data to make physical space. Scientists can't rely on toddlers to describe their memories, so how do they test retention? The Barrett and Bjork experiment in 1998 tested memory using a mechanical toy arm. Babies moved an arm to activate a mechanical toy arm that turned on a colorful light. The key was the delay, 30 seconds, then 90 days. Toddlers with immature hippocampi still remembered the sequence perfectly after 3 months. An eye-tracking study from Duke University and Harvard Medical School in 2012. Babies looked significantly longer at unfamiliar faces, proving they recognized the familiar ones. 4 months passed, memories survived despite immature hippocampal structures. Then a 2019 study found something bizarre. New memories in unfamiliar locations vanished within 4 to 7 weeks. Why did one set survive 3 months while another dissolved in weeks? Emotional intensity is the key. High arousal events persist as hyper-detailed snapshots. Ordinary daily experiences fade in under 2 months because they're identical from day to day. Surviving memories don't sit quietly like old photographs, they change every time you access them. Every time you recall an early experience, you actively rewrite it in your head. You remember your most recent memory of that day, not the day itself. Like a document copied on Xerox machines for decades, each generation loses quality. Cambridge and Harvard discovered that emotional memories bypass the hippocampus entirely. Highly emotional memories encode directly into the amygdala, not the hippocampus. You can't consciously recall your baby crib, but you carry deep sensory imprints from that era for life. A caregiver's anxiety or soothing gets carved into your emotional baselines permanently. Infant amnesia is not all or nothing. It's a sieve filtering out redundant ancient data. Act 5, the wild twist that flips everything into something beautiful rather than sad. For years, psychologists viewed infant amnesia as a bug parents should worry about. Forgetting your early life isn't a flaw, it's the entire reason you became capable of adult thought. Imagine your brain as a smartphone with only 4 gigabytes of storage. Every tiny moment of your toddler years permanently locked in, light patterns, sweater shades, rain sounds, the phone would freeze, you could never download a new app. Your developing brain hits this same storage crisis daily. Pruning is essential for growth. Neural pruning isn't erasing your past, it's making room for your future. By forgetting what your hands look like at age 1, your brain made space to learn calculus. Every memory lost between 0 and 3 was a deliberate trade. You exchanged remembering a first-hand hold for the ability to understand the value of holding it. You traded 1,000 breakfast meals for abstract concepts, empathy, love, and wonder. Infant amnesia is one of the most miraculous acts of self-sacrifice your biology performed. You literally forgot yourself into becoming who you are today. Every blank page in those first 3 years was a clean canvas painted over into a masterpiece. You have to forget who you were to become someone new. When you struggle to recall earliest memories, don't feel loss. Feel gratitude. Your brain chose to make you smarter at the cost of your earliest memories. Every one of us shares this same bargain. We lost our baby selves to become adult selves. That blank space at the beginning of your life story is the foundation everything was built on. Thank your hippocampus for its sacrifice. Thank yourself for becoming who you were meant to be. Your brain is still pruning every single day. The same mechanism that erased baby memories still optimizes your brain today. You're not the same person you were last year, you're a constantly updated version. The very act of remembering changes the memory. You can never visit the same memory twice. Reconsolidation. Every retrieved memory gets locked, edited, and resaved like a modified document. Your memory is not a recording. It's a living story your brain tells itself. Imagine retrieving something encoded before language, self-identity, or full brain wiring. Even though you can't remember being a baby, it shaped everything about who you became. Your attachment style, deepest fears, and stress reactions were forged in those forgotten years. You may not remember the moments, but your body remembers. Your amygdala never forgot. Infant amnesia is the price of admission to becoming a complex, conscious human being. Every human who has ever lived paid this same price. The one thing we all share that none remember. When you stare at a photo of your 3-year-old self and feel that distance, smile. That gap isn't a hole where your childhood used to be. It's the empty space your future needed. You didn't lose your baby memories. You invested them in the person you are right now. Your baby self was repurposed. Every neuron that held a forgotten experience now holds a living skill. You don't need to remember the stories about you as a baby. The stories themselves are enough. The fact that it happened to you is enough. You don't have to carry the memory to carry its meaning. Forgetfulness is not the enemy of meaning. It is the birthplace of it. If you could remember being a baby, you wouldn't have room to be who you are now. Your amnesia was not a theft. It was a gift wrapped in confusion, opened only now. You've spent your entire life benefiting from a sacrifice you never knew was made. Now you know. Infant amnesia is not a bug. It is the system itself, the foundation upon which everything was built. You did not lose your first 3 years. You spent them on yourself, and you became worth every forgotten moment.